What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to the Crypto Catch Up. Of course, your number one place to catch up on crypto. Now, look, today I want to take a look at the altcoin market because we're starting to see developments here. And I do think that this little window and period of a good buying opportunity that we've been in may be getting, coming to a close. I think that over the years, we have these little cycles where there's good times to buy and there's just simply just not good times to buy. And I think we're still in a good time to buy. But again, I think that window is closing. I don't want to explain to you exactly why I'm thinking that, what I'm looking at, and much more. And so with that said, let's not waste any more time at all. And let's get a little bit of a recap as to what the market is doing right now. And guys, I will be back in my studio on Monday, so don't worry about the setup now. But what we can see is, of course, over the last day or so, things have definitely heated up a lot, right? We got Bonk, we got EGLD, Solana, and WIF, and SEI. We got Sats, Pepe, all different types of cryptos absolutely smashing. And I love these days where we can see Solana, with Render, and Fed and Bonk all, in the top, right? And all doing well, because it just goes to show that we're not seeing the popcorn effect right now. We're just seeing the altcoin market in general do well. Now, when we see moments like this, of course, I do think that it's important to kind of really look at it from more of a zoomed out perspective as well, right? What are we looking like on the weeklies? What are we looking like on the monthlies? And what you'll start to notice is this market is starting to eat up the losses that it's put in, especially over the last few weeks. Just a couple of days ago, when we looked at the weekly charts, this thing was red. When we looked at the monthly chart, it was way more red than this. And what the altcoin market is doing right now is eating up a lot of those losses that we put in and liquidating a ton of shorts, which kind of catapults these gains continuously to the upside. And so it is a very, very good sign that this market is doing this. But on the flip side of that, though, as I mentioned earlier in the video, it could mean that what we are seeing in this market is a closing of the window where you can still get in on some of these altcoins and actually generate some good gains, maybe towards the end of this year. Now, what I want to focus in on today is what we're seeing here on Total 2. Now, you guys know we don't do a ton of technical analysis here on the second channel, but I do like to be able to give you guys an opinion or an update, at least every now and then, of what the TA does look like, because I do think that it's important to get a macro understanding of where we are at. And guys, don't forget, less than or this channel is not even a month old. We're pushing up towards 800 subscribers, so do subscribe if you have been enjoying the content. But one way or another, I mean, looking at Total 2 here, okay? Total 2 is the total market cap of crypto excluding Bitcoin. So this is the total market cap of all altcoins. Now, some people like to exclude Ethereum. I personally don't. I still look at Ethereum as an altcoin, whether you like it or not, because I consider an altcoin to be anything that's not Bitcoin, okay? And so this is important because, again, it tells us what the altcoin market's doing without Bitcoin. And what we can see here is that ever since March, the altcoin market has consistently been putting in lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, creating a rather strongly parallel descending channel here. Now, some people may look at this and think, damn, that's not a good thing, right? We're seeing downtrend, we're seeing lower lows, lower highs. But what you don't understand is that this is actually an incredibly good thing, and it can oftentimes be incredibly bullish. Oftentimes in the world of crypto, especially when it comes to altcoins, when you're at the top of a macro move upwards, putting in a parallel channel like this to the downside is considered a bullish move. And the reason being is because it's a continuation pattern. No matter what you do in crypto, there will be moments where this market has to cool down. There will be moments where the market has to pull back. It's natural. Supply and demand. It must happen. And so knowing that it must happen, there's a couple different ways that it can happen. Option number one is that you just go sideways like this. Option number two is that you go down and then you capitulate, you go a little sideways consolidation, and then you come back up. Or three, you do this, where you just casually go down, you casually pull back and go sideways. And typically speaking, based off historical data, this oftentimes leads to the best gains following the cool down. And so knowing that we have to cool down, knowing that we have to pull back, this is the best option that we have to be able to continue the move to the upside. And so knowing that, what that means is that we only have a limited amount of time that we're going to spend within this channel. We're not going to stay in here forever. There will be a day, it's an 88 to 93% chance that we break to the upside of this channel in the long run. And knowing that at some given point, we're very likely going to break to the upside, especially after we got a fake out to the downside right here. The time to be able to purchase cryptos, especially altcoins, while they are in this little channel, while they are in consolidation, while the total market itself is not rallying, it's not parabolic, it's not overextended, any of these things is getting smaller. Now, sure, this market may cool down a little bit. We are at the 50% threshold of this channel, so we might get a little bit of pullback. We might get a little bit of consolidation. That's not a really big deal. If you're buying altcoins right now, you need to understand we're not in altcoin season yet. We're still in Bitcoin season. It's a 22 on the Bitcoin season index, altcoin season index. And what that means is that Bitcoin is still very well in control of this market. But historically speaking, buying altcoins altcoins for the long term, while Bitcoin is in control of the market, is one of the easiest ways that you can make gains. And so in a moment like this, in which we are seeing Bitcoin very much so and still in control, and we're seeing the altcoin market still in a consolidationary channel, it means that you shouldn't even be focused on the short term. You really shouldn't even be focused on the midterm. Focusing on the long term right now is what'll really make gains. And so even buying right now and seeing a bit of a pullback isn't that big of a deal, because again, the intention here should be the long term. So looking at this, what I would go ahead and say is that currently speaking, some of your top alts are still a decent time to be buying. Now, sure, in the short term, as I mentioned before, it may not be the best. If we go out to something, let's just look at the RSI heat map. And what this does, it gives you it maps out all of the different RSIs for each one of these cryptos. Yeah, you can see it. On the 4-hour, we're overbought to the top side. On the 12-hour, we're overbought to the top side. On the 24-hour, we're getting a strong territory, which is almost overbought. And then on the weekly, we're still around that neutral point. So yeah, in the short term, we might see anything you buy right now might pull back. Anything that you buy right now might go negative. So if you want to take a little bit more strategic approach and start slowly dollar cost averaging in, especially if this market does pull back, it makes a ton of sense. But I'm referring to the long term. In the long term right now, it's clear that this is still a decent buying opportunity. But again, the window is closing. We will not sit in here forever. And at some point, we are going to start to see them rally. Now, if we talk about a few of my favorites, one thing that I want to do on the channel here is I want to focus in and kind of give you updates on like every video that we talk about altcoins. I'll give you an update on like 2, 3, 4 different ones that I really like. Currently speaking, my 3 favorite altcoins are Solana, Jasmy, and Render. And so for just a quick update of where these 3 are at, you can kind of see what's happening here. What we can see is that for Solana, for example, Solana has also been in a consolidationary channel, and the likelihood is here at some given point, Solana is likely going to break upwards. Now, yeah, sure, it might pull back off of this micro trend line, then go for the move to the upside or something like that. That's very possible. But again, in the grand scheme of things, it is in a consolidationary channel, which, historically speaking, means that we could see Solana get a breakout eventually back up towards 240 to 250. So sure, in the short term, it might pull back, but in the long term, the likelihood of still being able to see Solana push up, another 50, 60% is extremely likely. You look at something like Jasmy. Jasmy is in a very, very beautifully parallel descending channel here, in which at some given point, it's going to break out of. It's just what happens. Now, I can't say for sure it'll happen, but again, 88 to 93% chance that Jasmy's price will break out of here. And so being able to pick some up here is still a good opportunity, in my opinion. Sure, it might pull back. Sure, it might head back to 15.015. Sure, that's an opportunity. That's a possibility. I would just buy more there. I'm not saying empty the bags right now. I'm not saying, or just load up the bags right now. Spend all of your cash buying these things, but starting to get in, starting to pick up some of these altcoins while we are still in Bitcoin season, before altcoin season, will historically lead to the best gains. And so, of course, with Jasmy, knowing that we're in this descending channel, knowing that there is an opportunity for this breakout at some given point, which I do believe is going to happen, it's still a good buying opportunity. You look at something like Render as well. Look how far away Render is from this descending trend line. Render is a crypto that will almost always return to trends. And as you can see, it has this trend way up here. There will be a day, in my opinion, that Render's price returns back up towards the top side of this trend line. And so although Render is up right now and might do this and might pull back and then consolidate maybe and then do something like that, you never really know. Or maybe it looks like this, right? Maybe we come all the way back down here and then bounce. It doesn't really matter to me. Knowing what happens in the short term, or knowing that the short term will have volatility, doesn't scare me, because I'm not buying altcoins for the right now. I'm buying them for the next year. I'm buying them for the next 6 months. And knowing that I think Render will eventually not only just return to this trend, but break out of it, I still do think that this could still be a good buying opportunity in the grand scheme of things. Okay. And so with that in mind, I wanted to just kind of share my input and share my opinion and let you guys know that, look, although the window is closing, and it's closing fast, I'm not going to lie, there is still an opportunity here, and I am still picking up alts, and I am still dollar cost averaging into them multiple times a week. And so because of that, guys, let me know how you feel about the altcoin videos. Do you want me to talk about altcoins here more on this second channel, kind of focusing on the altcoin market, let you guys know what's happening from a grand scheme of things, maybe pick out Solana, Jasmy, Render, Ton, XRP, etc., and kind of tell you what's happening with them and their prices? Let me know if this is a content that fits you and what you like to watch. I'd love to hear it down below, and I will be making some polls over on the community posts and community tab on my channel if you want to vote there as well. So thank you guys, of course, so much for tuning in. And of course, I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.